And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome to Open Connection. I'm your host, Robert Pictou. Our show today comes to you from the traditional and unceded territory of the Tsimshian people. Originally founded in the 1860s, Port Essington transformed from a modest trading post situated on First Nations camp into a bustling community featuring at least 4 significant canneries. The late 1890s saw the arrival of the first Japanese-Canadian fishermen, shore workers, and cannery staff, and within 10 years, Port Essington had developed into the largest Nikkei settlement north of Vancouver. On today's Open Connection, we open our archives as Harvey Wing guides us through Port Essington.
All right. You still this sidewalk here. It goes down toward the reserve. I guess our house would have been just over here somewhere. Just on the corner.
Harvey Wing lived in Port Essington for 10 years before the town was burnt to the ground in the early 60s. He was one of 18 hardy souls from the Skeena River Heritage Trust who made the trip to Essington last summer to perform an archaeological survey to see what's left. The trust, which has 700 members on 4 continents, felt it was a good project to tackle.
Well, Port Essington was actually the first Prince Rupert, in a roundabout sort of way. I mean, Port Essington was the first large community on the west coast in the north before the turn of the century. It was the San Francisco of the north. It had everything. It had saloons, it had halls, it had banks, a hotel, canneries, sawmill. It was it was the meeting place on the Skeena River for the stern whalers. It was the San Francisco of the north. So.
Port Essington was founded in 1871 by Robert Cunningham, a former missionary and one-time employee of the Hudson's Bay Company. Dissatisfied with working for Hudson's, Cunningham left their employ and struck out on his own. He set up shop at the mouth of the Skeena River and homesteaded. As his operation grew, so did the population, as he was joined by people from First Nations communities like Kitsikaleam and Kitsilas. With the birth of the salmon fishing industry, Port Essington went into a boom cycle. It was the home of 3 major cannery operations and a transportation hub on the Skeena. At one time, the population of the town during the summer was around 3,000 people and as cosmopolitan as you can get.
It's a large Chinese component that worked in every cannery, and First Nations people, Japanese people, Europeans. So there was a real mixture of different nationalities living there.
Over time, the makeup of Port Essington's population changed, and leading into the Second World War, nearly half the population was composed of Japanese fishermen who had moved from the Fraser River area. When WW2 hit, it signaled the decline of the town's populace as the Japanese were moved to internment camps in BC's interior.
After the war, as more modern kind of developments came in Prince Rupert, so quite a few people decided to move. There was more opportunity in Prince Rupert. The old kind of lifestyle Port Essington had was sort of being left behind as the modern age developed. And then in the early 60s, there was a major fire that destroyed a lot of the buildings, and so that kind of put an end to it. When it was,
houses from here to the pilings there just exploded from the heat. And that was back here. Brown store and the hotel. The forestry, when they came in here, they came down here and they just stretched their hoses up and they sprayed all the buildings back here that would be still standing, I would think, unless the snow knocked them down.
Wing has a lot of fond memories of living in Essington. He was here in the 50s during the final years when the population was at most 200 people, and as a child he had the free run of the boardwalks. Wing can remember coming home from his father's fishing camps on the weekends and heading straight to the nearby hot springs.
So past the islands here on that shore was the Purcell Hot Spring, and we used to go up there every Sunday. Leave here around 11 and come back around 4. It had 3 swimming pools that were covered. Well, they swimming pools, just tanks, and one on the outside that had running water in there all the time from the spring.
Port Essington is truly a ghost town now. Only a few buildings remain, and some have just collapsed, like the United Church, whose roof is now held up by the old pulpit. Rows upon rows of pilings stand as testament to the huge piers which held up the canneries that operated here. The wooden boardwalks which ran throughout the town are rotting and now break at the lightest step. Everywhere you go, the brush is ever encroaching and is threatening to swallow the town whole. Ironically, the most preserved spot in the once thriving community is the cemetery.
There's a surprising number of grave sites still remaining. A lot of them were quite elaborate. They had picket fences around them. Some had cast iron. Unfortunately, a lot of the gravestones that have been vandalized or even taken, some of the more intricate ones. But there are a few interesting carvings and so on that, and a number of names that you can read. And
As for the survival of the town, well, let's just say the survey wasn't conducted for nothing.
When we sat down originally, we have what we called a 1-year, 3-year, 5-year, and a 10-year plan regarding Port Essington. The Trust, optimistically, would like to see boardwalks or a portion of the boardwalk back there within about a 10-year period so that people could actually go to Port Essington and wander around what's left, kind of like a Barkerville of the North, and take a look at what's there and or what was there, and just have a sense of real history.
The Trust brought back a number of artifacts and has been gathering even more from former residents. According to Wojciech, a permanent exhibit is being put together and will open in the near future.
What makes me excited about this project is finally there is a place for those people from Port Essington, which I know hundreds, or at least several hundreds of people that are from Port Essington. It's their place to go. It will be their museum. It'll be a place to take their children, their grandchildren. It'll be a place to go, remember, reflect. So we'll have that set up for May of this year.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Thank you for staying with us. In 1993, First Alert launched Canada's very first battery-operated carbon monoxide alarm. This groundbreaking technology made CO detection much more accessible for households, which could help save lives. Before this, CO detection technology was mainly confined to costly, hardwired systems. Let us return to the archives to discover a carbon monoxide detector could be used outside the home.
This sound could save your life. Having a carbon monoxide detector isn't mandatory, like having a smoke detector, but you might want to make the investment for both your home and boat.
I would recommend it. It's an alarm system, same as a smoke detection system. If you're sleeping during the night and you have a fire in the home, the smoke detector will wake you up. The same thing with carbon monoxide. If it's building up through the evening, through the night, and you don't know, this alarm will wake you up. And
Last spring, 2 men from Prince George didn't wake up when they went on a trip down the Douglas Channel in this covered motorboat. They died. Carbon monoxide poisoning. They're trying to warm up with a small heater. Fumes from the motor used to power the heater entered the canopy from underneath a flap. A carbon monoxide detector can be used in boats and campers as well as homes.
in today's construction, we don't have the old homes that used to be very drafty. These homes are built very airtight. And then people in the fall will winterize them by putting plastic on the windows, caulking, and this all reduces the amount of proper airflow for the building. So we recommend that they, if they're unsure and the house is very airtight, that they could have a service person come in.
That's all on.
It's recommended that a qualified service technician be called to check all major heating appliances in every home at least once a year.
Well, as a family, we're always concerned to make sure our environment's safe for everybody. And we have several gas-burning appliances in the home, so why take a chance?
The fireplace and other sources of heat can give off dangerous levels of carbon monoxide unless they're properly maintained. Homeowners can help keep their home safe in between service checks by checking their chimney, snow blockage, damage, and obstructions like bird nests.
This is a personal carbon monoxide detector that our qualified service technicians use on service calls, and we will inspect all gas appliances, fuel burning appliances with this to ensure that the levels of carbon monoxide are not over the recommended limits.
Often people don't know there's dangerous levels of carbon monoxide in the home until it's too late.
You can't detect it in the home. It's odorless, colorless, and when the carbon monoxide takes over, it depletes the oxygen supply in the home, and depending how serious the concentration is, you can eventually die from it.
Even though you can't see it or smell it, there are signs you could be suffering from it. These symptoms are often mistaken for the flu. They include headaches, blurred vision, chest pain, vomiting, and sleepiness. If you're not sure, open a window, leave the home, and call the fire department.
We have equipment here that we can go over and do a check on the concentration. Plus we have contractors in town that we can call to assist us.
One of the most common ways carbon monoxide builds up in the home is from warming your car in the garage. Even leaving the garage door open doesn't provide enough air circulation. Always back it all the way out, and even though you may be tempted, never use barbecues inside the garage or home. The furnace is another potential carbon monoxide danger, pipe damage.
And we were having headaches. I woke up one morning to get ready to go to work and went to the washroom, and I had blackness all under my nose. And it was our old furnace. It had a cracked heat exchanger, and the flue gases were just going through the home. And luckily, we caught it. We're still here.
This furnace is checking out okay. Another potential danger homeowners often forget about is the clothes dryer. Make sure vents aren't blocked by snow or dirt inside or out.
The dryer is a gas burning dryer is often neglected. It needs to be cleaned and ensure that the venting is clear of any obstructions to ensure that no carbon monoxide potentially leaks back into the home.
What things should you check out around the homes?
Definitely check that none of the venting is obstructed inside the dryer, that the venting is connected in the back, and that the operation of the appliance is functioning correctly.
The Harnadeck home checked out okay. That brings a little extra peace of mind for the family.
Rather than worrying about it, it's good to know for sure.
But just to be on the safe side, until next year's checkup, the family plans to pick up a carbon monoxide detector in the near future.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome back to Open Connection. In early September of 1927, it was noted that the concept of establishing the Omaneka Skiers Club first emerged during an impromptu meeting of the timber cruisers and trappers, a rather diverse group with a small Scandinavian majority, as they gathered for a cozy evening in the sitting room of the Omaneka Hotel. Let us return to the archives as Chris Paulson gives us some tips on waxing skis.
The scenic Nordic Center halfway up Hudson Bay Mountain was the site of the very popular women's cross-country ski clinic. 120 rookie to experienced skiers and instructors from around the province showed up for the 7th annual event.
It's my third time. I've been instructed all 3 times, and it just keeps getting better.
But before hitting the snow on Saturday, many novices and some menfolk got a chance to learn about ski waxing on Friday night.
Put it on there so your skis glide better. It doesn't help you propel yourself forward any better, but it will help the skis actually glide faster.
The audience lucked out getting a former national team member to explain the finer points.
You want to choose the wax that meets the condition. So if you get the right wax, the wax is going to stick to the snow, and you're going to be able to propel yourself forward. And as you propel yourself forward, the wax is also going to glide very well at the same time.
Carlson figures the average beginner will need to spend $15 to $20 on wax in a season. That's depending on how often you go out.
Most beginners probably won't ski more than about 5 kilometers, maybe 2 to 5 kilometers in a session. So unless the ski conditions change a lot, they don't have, maybe the wax will last 2 weeks on your skis. They get down.
Waxing gives a higher level of performance and allows for more speed and fun, which is what the women came for and got.
What do you like about it? It seems like a lot of work.
Oh, but you learn so much, and the people, it's just great getting everybody together. And a lot of fun.
Every year, instructors from around the province come to spread their love of the sport and hopefully get a bunch of newcomers hooked on cross-country skiing, no matter how awkward it may seem at the beginning.
Because they haven't really achieved, a point of balance where things are efficient yet, so they're wasting a lot of energy just trying to stay upright. So the key is here, once they learn a few better techniques and their balance improves, and it becomes more efficient. So it does get a lot easier.
Video cameras were used to tape the skiers in action, so their technique could be reviewed later in the Buckfink Lodge to improve their skills for Sunday and the rest of the winter. After a long day on the trails, it's time to rest the newly strained muscles, eat, and make some friends upstairs at the lodge.
There's something pretty special about getting a room full of 120 women together. They've put a weekend aside to learn a new skill and to meet new friends and to get out and do something that they feel really good about. I thought it was great, really positive. The instructors I had were terrific people, really personable, really connected with the group, and really taught us a whole lot. It was wonderful.
Lace also came here to see how to run such a successful event, then take that knowledge back to 100 Mile to try to create a demand there and hopefully start their own clinic.
Well, if we can get coaches to come to 100 Mile for an event like this and draw the women that, like I have friends that are like women here too, that don't know how to ski and would like to learn how to ski, but don't want to take a group lesson with a bunch of men or kids or something. So an event like this would draw them together in a safe environment where they feel right. Some people feel that it's a non-threatening environment, and they don't feel as conscious of themselves as they would in a mixed group. But there is something special about the camaraderie. I can't exactly put my finger on it, but there's something almost magical about it. So whatever it is, it works, having the women getting together and learning from women. I lean forward to the point that you would land on your nose if you didn't have your poles, so that when you're...
The training is very thorough, done by certified instructors. There are also sessions in skiing without your poles. This method is used to teach you how to shift your weight so you can glide properly.
They can learn to move from ski to ski, and if they put their poles on, then they tend to sit over the middle, and they never get their weight on either ski. They ride on both skis, and we're trying to get them to move. So we take the poles away, and we do some different drills and exercises so that they get used to being on one ski than the other.
I am a downhill skier, so I didn't find it too difficult to catch on, but it's definitely very different. So I think it's really important to get instruction. Thought it was great. Excellent exercise, good workout, and the instruction was superb. We learned techniques right from basics up. A lot of women getting together and having fun and being very positive towards each other. And there's just everything about this weekend is a positive event, and it makes women really self-confident.
Plans are already in the works for next year's clinic, but you better act fast when you hear about it. This winter session was sold out in 15 minutes.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Electrofields arise from variations in voltage. The greater the voltage, the more powerful the resulting field will be. Magnetic fields are generated when electricity current is present. The larger the current, the more intense the magnetic field becomes. In this final segment of Open Connection, let us return to the archives with Gerald Amos.
It's taken the Haisla over 50 years of pushing for it, but towers are finally starting to move.
These ones here are new replacements, but by next summer, the towers in the village will be moved out.
Well, the transmission line through Kitimat Village has been there since day one, and building a new smelter today, I don't think that would be an acceptable situation. And since the late 70s, that has been considered a part of the command of completion project, that we would remove the line through the village and construct the twin line above the village. When it was delayed, of course, along with KCP, and when KCP was rejected by the BC government, we had some discussions with the Haisla and agreed that yes, as good neighbours, we would continue with that aspect of the program.
Before Alcan can move the towers out of Kitimat Village, a new route several kilometers away had to be chosen. Then helicopter pads and tower bases were built. 18 new tower tops have been airlifted in by Skycrane over the past few months. For the Haisla, it means the fear of the possible effects of electromagnetism will also be taken away.
We heard a lot of concerns coming out of places like Russia and the United States, where people were actually beginning to look at the impact on human beings with electromagnetic fields. And so it kind of became a bigger issue than it had been.
Once the towers are moved out, more room will also be available for housing.
There's a lot of people living on the Kitimat town site, about 200, so that would rather live here, and we have no room for them.
It was hoped the towers would be gone in the fall, but due to construction delays, the project won't be started up again until next spring. Safety concerns have arisen over putting up de-energized lines.
So that creates the potential of ice build-up, snow build-up, and it could collapse the towers, which is exactly what happened in the Quebec ice storm. So there's all the safety issues like that, and our inability to finish energizing that line in time this year. And with the oncoming winter, we decided to take the prudent move and stop the project.
The Haisla understand the safety concerns and say another season won't make much difference.
Like every time I drive by this, for instance, I have to smile to myself because it's been years in the making, and the fact that it is going probably sometime in the summer this coming year has made a lot of the councillors and I dare say a lot of the community members feel a lot better about where this community is going in terms of its own development.
Development that's hoped to draw more Haisla people back to the community.
If you take a look at a community perhaps like Juneau, where there's already a tremendous amount of cruise ship business, they may not be as impacted as greatly right now. Some of the smaller communities that don't see as many cruise ships, this is their cruise ship, and because the vessel's having to go all the way down to Bellingham, it's a much longer run, takes the vessel out of service for a longer period of time, which means that the feed into the community has been cut by 2/3. Pretty substantial cut to tourism traffic in those communities.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Open Connection. The greatest distance in the existence of man is not from here to there, but the connection from his mind and heart. If we can conquer that distance, we can soar like an eagle and realize our immensity within. I'm Robert Pictou.